Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our January 6th edition of Wellness Wednesday. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tara Green. I'm a holistic health coach. So excited to be here with you guys today. So, if you are tuning in live for this goal getting session, please let me know where you're tuning in from and if you've had a go at setting your goals for the year. It is 2021 at the time of this recording. Let me just make sure I've got all systems go on all platforms. Yes, we do. Okay, so let's start with a story. January 1st this year, so last Friday, I was sitting on the couch and I was feeling really frustrated and annoyed at the thought of setting goals for another year. Hands up if 2020 was a huge year for you, if you can relate to that. I don't know about you, but it definitely felt like such a huge physical, emotional, everything year for so many people. And I just thought, another year. And I was coming from a really disempowered sense. And what I soon had to learn is to get out of that pit. How many of you have been in the pit before? Hands up. That pit where you're just down in the dumps. And so I used to stay in the pit for like 3 days, 3 weeks. Now I can get myself out of it in like 3 minutes or less. So I was sitting there and I thought, okay, no, pull yourself together, Tara. You've got big vision for this year and big things you want to achieve. And this is where I sat down and did my goal getting template. And this is exactly what I want to share with you all this evening to support you with not just setting your goals, but actually getting your goals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen so that you guys can see the template. Now, if you haven't already, if you've got 2 devices, you can go and download the PDF workbook to this in the units section of the Green Taiwanese Health Hub. If you're watching this in a different platform, then I'm happy to send it through to you. However, I'm going to be able to show you it on my screen so you can follow along. So if you just want to follow along, grab a notepad, pen, notes on your phone, computer, however you take notes, get that ready now. And I'm going to share my screen with you guys so that you can see exactly what I'm on about. Alrighty. Okay. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can see my screen. A like, a love, comment, yep. And we'll get into it. Okay. Alrighty. So goal setting, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like particularly New Year's resolutions can be quite overdone. It can be something that we can set but never actually achieve. So something like people set New Year's resolutions 10 times without success. 10 times people set the same New Year's resolution without any success. This is why they don't work. This is why it's important that we focus on feeling, not form, because form's always changing. You know, when I have the car, when I have the ideal job, when I'm the ideal body weight, that's all basing our happiness on an outcome, a form, something happening. So what we want to do is we want to bring it back to feeling and feeling good. And this is what this goal getting template is all about. Now, this comes from work of my own goal setting and goal getting over the years, Marie Folio's work, my beautiful mindset and business coach. I've taken from all different things to work out what works best for me to help you guys to fast track your goal getting abilities. So let's get into it. 3 simple steps for goal getting. Complete your circle of life. Find your 1 to 3 goals that you want to set your goals in based on the results of your circle of life, and then rinse and repeat. So I'm going to go in this in a little bit more detail as we go through the 3 steps. You'll be able to see that as you follow along. But I want to give you guys some bonus tips. Now, I heard these last year, and these bonus tips were from the incredible Marie Folio, and she spoke about 3 things to really achieve your goals, to get them, not just set them. Write them down every single day, 15 times minimum. So part of my morning routine is to write my goals down, my number 1 goal down 15 times. 42% more likely to achieve them when you do this. schedule when and where you're going to take action. So goals without a deadline are just a dream, right? So what we want to make sure we do is we actually schedule it in our calendar. You guys would probably fall over backwards if you saw my Apple calendar, and everything gets scheduled in, from having to take the dog to the vet to, I used to schedule showers in, I don't anymore, but to my physical activity, things like that. If it's not scheduled, then it's not done. And there's research that shows if it's all happening in your head, that is why we're getting that brain fog. That's why we're getting overwhelmed. That's why we're forgetting things. That's why we're having issues with sleep, with hormones, because there's too much going on up here. The actual physical act of writing something down comes from your brain out your arm and out here onto the page or onto whatever you're scheduling on. Gets all the noise. It decreases the noise. Who'd like less noise, right? 2 to 3 times more likely to actually achieve your goals, to get your goals when you do this. The final one, set an accountability appointment. Team up with a friend, a colleague, a coach to help you to keep you accountable. I work with my clients and we catch up every fortnight and we set tasks, goal getting tasks that we can do along those weeks to be able to achieve those goals. Because how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Same with our goals. So if you've got a goal that you've been kind of setting 10 years in a row, or a big goal that overwhelms you and you're quite fearful of it, it's how we chunk it and break it down into the monthly, the weekly, and the daily action steps that counts. Okay, so that's a little bit of the background, a bit of the how to. Any questions, pop them in the comments, let me know. So, goal getting. Let's talk step 1, circle of life. Now, those of you who have been following my work for a while, you would have seen this before. If you're brand new and you haven't seen this, comment, let me know. Just type new in the comments. If you've seen this before, type seen. If you've seen and done this for 2021, type seen and done. A few different things: new, seen, or seen and done. Okay, so with this, what we want to do is we want to place a dot on the line for each category of our life to indicate how satisfied we are in that area. 0 is down the bottom here, not content. 10 right up the top, really, really, really content, really happy with how that area is going. So what you want to do, and you may like to start doing this as I'm talking, or you may like to do this after the video, or if you're watching the replay, pause it and start to put on the lines here your scores, how you rate yourself. So let's say, for instance, spirituality. What? I don't even know what that means. So maybe I'm going to put that as a 2 because I don't really know what that means. Creativity. This is not just like eating. Sorry, this is not just drawing and painting and those kind of things. This is also how you do your hair and makeup, and how you plate up your food, and things that you do not for productivity. So there's productivity and creativity. Creativity actually breeds more productivity. So make sure you're scheduling time for creativity. If you're just go, do, means to an ends, then I'd be putting, if you've got no creativity, no time for you doing things you love, reading, whatever, I'd put it at 0. Finances, how content you are. Career, if you don't have one and you want one, obviously that's going to be low. Education is lifelong learning. So tuning into Wellness Wednesdays like this is part of education. It doesn't have to be a uni degree or that you're at school. Health. So what would you rate your overall score for your health? Awesome. I'm just looking at some comments on Facebook as we go through. Some have seen it, some have new, some are new to it. Awesome, guys. That's great. We've got a mixture. So good. Physical activity. So let's say, for instance, you want to be exercising 5 times a week and you're doing 0, or you're doing 2 times. You might put it about 4 or 5 because you're like halfway to your goal. Home cooking, you might want to be cooking 80% of the time at home. You're only doing 40%. So you're like, okay, well, I'll put that at 5 as well. Kind of getting the drift. Home environment, maybe it's a physical space you're in. Maybe it's the feng shui of your house, how happy you feel in your home environment. For me right now, this is really low, not because of the people in it or the dog in it, but because we've got mold issues, and that's number 1 trigger for thyroid concerns. So for me, it's about getting into a new house. So I'd rate this quite low on my circle right now. It can include the people in it. So if you want to give it an overall score. Relationships, you can do this as an overall score, or you can do it as one person, one significant person. Social life and overall joy. So if you've drawn this up, give it a bit of a go, or even just write them down, number them 0 to 10, whatever you feel with that. Please take some time, like 30 minutes after this webinar at some stage, schedule it in to do your circle of life and your goal getting. And then you want to list here, top 3 areas, pat yourself on the back, go, well done, I'm smashing those areas. And then list your bottom 3 areas. So have a look, and if you've got a couple of double ups, just choose which ones you feel are the lowest for you. Do a bit of a subjective kind of analysis of that. So let's say, for instance, the ones that I always get, home cooking, physical activity, and health can be, you know, often the top 3 that I'll get my clients coming to me with. Often the creativity, the joy comes into self-care as well. They're often quite low as well. So, but they're kind of where I see it mostly. Okay, so based on that, what we're going to do is we're going to do our well-formed outcome template. Now, you can do one of these well-formed outcomes for each of your 3 goals. So you can do 3 of these, or you can do one general one. And in number 4, step number 4, you can actually put in the other areas of your life. So let's say, for instance, you had home cooking, so food, as your number 1 goal. Then, and I'm going to show an example in a second, then you might say in the context of your life, you can say, I'm eating better, I'm X, so that means I'm exercising X times a week, and I'm looking after myself more. I've got more time for self-care. I've got more energy because I'm not sleeping as much. Make sense? Hands up. Give me a like or a love if it's making sense to you guys. Okay, so I'm going to go through and give you guys an example, because when I first saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, there's lots in this, but I'll break it down. And once you do this, this sets up a template, an incredible vision statement for you to read, to listen to every single day. This is how I start my day. Headphones are by the bed. I go and grab the phone because it's not typically near the bed, and put the headphones on, and I listen to myself reciting this vision statement. So this is what I've done with the well-formed outcome. I've made it into my vision statement. I'm just going to check the comments, see if anyone's got anything happening. Beautiful. Okay. So you want to state the outcome in the positive. I'm just going to reel through these because I said I'd keep this to about 15 minutes and I could like talk for centuries. So I'm going to just reel through these and I'm going to give you the example. State the outcome in the positive. The brain doesn't hear any negatives. So if you say, I want to not have any debt, it has to recognize debt before it hears the not. So it already is focusing on debt first. Specify your current situation. So where are you today? Use really specific sensory language like seeing, hearing, feeling, smelling, like all of your senses that describe your outcome. Put in the context of your life. So how's it impacting on other areas of your life? Describe the evidence that you need to see along the way to achieving this goal. Is it congruently desirable? Like, is this congruent with you? Is it desirable for you? I mean, if you're setting a goal, typically it is. But this brings me to point 7. Is it self-initiated and self-maintained? Because sometimes a goal may not actually be self-initiated or self-maintained. For example, a health goal may not be self-initiated because your doctor said you need to lose 10 kilos or you'll have a heart attack. That's a really bad example. I don't focus on weight, but that's just to give you an idea. Self-maintained, are you the one that is motivated to see these changes? Or is it like a work goal and it's self-initiated, like a boss says you've got to hit this sale target, and then they just kind of push you along the way and you're not really motivated by it. So if it's not actually self-maintained, if someone else has set a goal for you, there are ways that we can make it self-maintained, self-initiated in here. So things like saying, okay, well, if I hit this certain sale goal, if I, eat a certain amount of whole foods per week, then I'm going to gift myself with X. So you kind of have a reward for yourself for achieving this goal. Blocks that may stop me. Resources needed, and check ecology. So ecology is when we look at, okay, is this goal good for myself? Well, I hope so. Otherwise we don't set it. Is it good for others? Okay, well, how are other people going to benefit from me setting and achieving and getting this goal? Is it good for the community? And is it good for the world? So let me go through the example. And I'm using whole foods as an example because this is often Food and exercise are the two that people often struggle with the most, the motivation around that. And also setting goals that are empowering and measurable for them and actually help them to get their goal. So as I said, I never focus on weight, and we want to make them measurable. So saying it is on or before can mean we can achieve it earlier. That's just a way to condition the brain. So it's on or before, and I've set a 12-month goal here, for example, 31st of December, 2021. And I'm eating whole foods 80% of the time. Where am I now? I've increased, and this is where I talk like I'm in December. So talk like where you are now is in the past. I've increased my whole foods by 60%, excuse me, by eating whole foods from, previously eating whole foods only 20% of the time. How do you work that out? Work out how many times a week you eat, and then how many times you're eating whole foods and how many times things are coming out of the packet. Sensory specific language for the outcome. So this is where you say, I see myself jumping out of bed. I see myself, being able to show up in my work, in my relationships as my best version of myself. I hear myself say to myself, you got this, girl. Look at you. Damn. I hear others say to me, wow, what are you doing? You look incredible. You look vibrant. Your skin is glowing. And I feel such gratitude and excitement about how I'm feeling, because I can show up. I can be the best mum, the best wife, the best whatever. I can show up in my business, whatever it might be. So the things that I use, I see, I hear, and I feel. Put your goal into context. As I said, my relationships are thriving as a result. I have more energy now, and I love that we have date nights once a week where it's just hubby and I. I'm bouncing out of bed, which means that I've upped my meditation practice and my physical activity. And as a result, I'm sleeping so good. My hormones are on par, and I'm fitting into my clothes. I feel so confident in my clothes. So talk about the feeling. Imagine it as it's already happened. The goal with this, though, is to not then think, oh, I'll feel that when I get there, but to actually feel that now. So that's why setting this as a vision statement and repeating it and feeling what this feeling feels like every single day will draw you closer to achieving that, because your vibrational energy will match that and it'll bring it closer to you. Okay, so I noticed evidence of increasing my whole foods because by March, I'm eating whole foods 30% of the time. By June, 50%. By September, 70%. Get the gist. So just work out what you need to be doing each month or quarter to achieve it. Is it desirable? Heck yes, because when I eat well, I feel great and I show up as the best version of myself. I reduce my illness, disease, hospital bills. I list all the reasons why this is congruent for you, why this is desirable. And yes, it is self-maintained and initiated because I want to feel good, and I'm required to take the steps forward to achieve this goal. What may stop me? Excuses of time, money, energy, peer pressure, no motivation. Resources needed to overcome those blocks and to achieve this goal, and start to list them out there. You can see them listed there. And is it good for self, others, community, and world? You bet you. Because when you feel good, when you're energetic, when you're lit up, you can show up for yourself as your best version. You can show up for others as your best version. You can show up in your workplace, less impact on the healthcare system. So that's impacting on the community in a positive way. And then I always say, one, teach one, teach one. You're going to feel good. People are going to be saying, what are you doing? And then you say, well, this is what I've done and this is what I've tried. And it spreads that ripple effect of health, wealth, and happiness around the world. So guys, there you have it. The goal getting template for you to sit down, have a think about some goals. So type in the comments, when are you have you set your goals yet for 2021, I should say, not going back to 2020. Have you set your goals for 2021? Type yes or working on it. And if you're working on it, let me know when you're actually going to sit down and spend the time. So put yes or working on it, and I'm going to complete it on, and let me know the date. This is your accountability. Remember, this is going to increase your chances of having success 65% or more. So let me know. I'm going to stop my share. And I'm actually, I know I've gone a little bit over. I always love to add a little bit of extra value. I'm going to open up. There were no questions that came through before now, but I wanted to see if there are any questions now. Please type them in the comments. Let me know. I'll hang around for a little bit more in the group. Like I'll jump off the live and I'll jump into the Facebook group and answer your questions in the comments if there's any that you pop up between now and then. Awesomeness. She's working on it. She's going to complete it on the 11th of the 1st. Well done. So good. And yeah, just allocate that 30 minutes to work on it. I trust this has been so helpful, guys. You're going to see over the coming weeks some exciting new stuff happening and some updates and some new things that I'm working on to bring you guys to help bring you more value. So keep an eye out here in the hub. Subscribe to my mailing list if you haven't either, because there's going to be some VIP stuff going there. I'll pop the link. I'll put in the caption, and I'll pop it in the comments as well. And just, yeah, here's to an incredible 2021. It's what we make it. If we can't change our circumstances, we can change how we look at them. So have a beautiful night. Thanks for joining me, ladies, and I'll see you all very soon.